Hey guys, what's up? It's Darkmick here and welcome back to another Mage Tower Tank Challenge Guide. Today we're doing the prop Paladin, so I finally did my prop Paladin this Mage Tower cycle. And I know there's been guides out for like 2, maybe even 3 months now. But I did say that I wanted to make guides for all the tank classes. I'm just doing them one by one. So I'm 4 tanks down now. And I'm more just making these guides because I wanted to have them on my channel. And maybe if you're still progressing through these on alts, basically the same that I'm doing at the moment, you'll find these guides of some use and help now that maybe they're your current gear level and things like that. So getting into this, guys, I'm going to do things the exact same way for the Highlord's return. I'm going to run over my talents, consumables, macros, weak auras or add-ons, legendaries. I'm then going to give you a rundown of Phase 1, Phase 2. We're then going to play the video and go over that and talk you through the fight as I do. And I'm going to try and make this fairly quick and simple to understand. So starting off, guys, with the talents. So talents-wise, and I don't know a hell of a lot about prop Paladin, I'll just put that out there now. So I kind of went with what I thought, which ended up mostly being the same as most of the guides I saw anyway. But level 15, you're going to take Blessed Hammer. Level 30, you are going to take First Avenger. It's the best option in here by a mile. Level 45, I took Fist of Justice. I saw a lot of guides taking Blinding Light for a stun. However, I preferred Fist of Justice. It reduced the cooldown on Hodge. On Hodge. I know what I'm talking about, Paladin. Which was really fucking useful for stunning Varus and stunning Cruel. So I took Fist of Justice, and I was really comfortable with that. Level 60, Cavalier. Cavalier is fucking awesome in this for mobility. Level 75, I took Knights Templar. I have seen some guides take Handed Protector, but I took Knights Templar. Level 90, I took Consecrated Ground. Again, I think that's the best option here, hands down. And level 100, Seraphim, because this is a DPS race in a lot of aspects, and Seraphim is awesome, both from a DPS and a defensive perspective as well. So they're the talents that I ran with, guys. Consumable-wise, I ran with the Strength Fast, so Countless Armies. Bear Tartar for food. I would recommend using Bear Tartar on any tank for any of these Mage Tower challenges. Bear Tartar is just so fucking good, especially in Phase 2 with Cruel, getting out of the green goo and being able to move and things like that. Bear Tartar all the way. An Augmented Room, a Goblin Glider to save you if you get punted and you're going off the edge, and Drums of Fury is what you will need for consumables. So macros and weak auras, guys. On the other tanks, I always had focus macros for interrupts on Varus and Cruel. I didn't bother using them on the Paladin, but you could certainly have a focus macro set up for Rebuke, Hodge, and Avenger's Shield. And I've put some in the description if you do want to use them, if you're unsure how to make them or whatever. But they're in the description if you do want to use some. Weak auras, there is also a link in the description to the Mage Tower weak auras that I used, and the DBM plug-in for the challenge mode, for the Mage Tower challenge. So use them, they're a great help for this as well. Legendary combinations, I only had 2 legendaries on my Paladin, and surprise, surprise, they're obviously what I used. I had Suran's Resolve, which was the Helm, which is the extra charge of Lighter Protector, which I guess isn't actually horrible for this. And I had Breastplate of the Golden Valkyr, which I think is pretty fucking horrible for this in terms of its equip bonus. The stats on it are okay, but it doesn't really do much. Other legendaries that would be really solid in here would be Telekas, or whatever the fucking legs are called. They're probably the best legendary for this challenge, I would assume. You're going to be able to hit all the adds and Inquisitor, and you're going to get 20% extra damage from your Avenger's Shield, so they're definitely going to be what you want if you've got them. And Sephir's Secret would be really fucking solid in here as well, because you are an interrupt machine on the Paladin. You're going to be proccing Sephirs whenever you're able to. You're going to get that movement speed, and you're going to get that haste buff that comes with that as well. So Sephirs would be really solid in here as well. But honestly, once you're sort of around the 905 plus area, any legendary is going to be fine in this challenge. So that is everything from that sort of point of view. Let's get into the actual fight now. Let's talk Phase 1 and 2. So Phase 1, guys, you're going to start off with Varus. Now, you've got Varus and 3 other types of adds that you've got to deal with through this. So the first adds that you're going to see are the Tormenting Eyes. So these are little eyes that spawn, and they cast a thing called Inquisitive Stare at you. It's a 5-second beam. If you are not facing the eye when that 5-second beam finishes, you will get punted backwards. So the easy thing with the eyes, if if you are in range or you're waiting for an Aura of Decay stack to drop off, you can run and hit an eye, no worries. Otherwise, just face them. If you get double beams from different directions, you can use an orb to stop that, but I didn't waste a lot of time killing eyes. The next stage you're going to deal with is Nether Horrors. Nether Horrors will go straight for Velen, and you've got to pick them up and DPS them down. Now, the Nether Horrors in the Paladin Tank Challenge are very different. They will just hit you with their auto attack and apply Psi Talents, which is what they normally do, which increases the amount of arcane damage you're going to take. So you just need to get them down. They will not cast Nether Storm though. They don't stop, they don't move and cast Nether Storm. They just hit you. So you pretty much just cleave them down. It turns them into a fair fucking joke, to be honest. And the last ad you're going to be dealing with in Phase 1 is a Smoldering Infernal. So these are Infernals, obviously, that walk around and they cast a big smash. Whenever you see the smash cast bar going off, make sure you are not standing in front of them. It's a frontal cone that will punch you off the edge. Now on to Varus himself. So Varus has 3 things that you need to be aware of. 1 is Aura of Decay, 2 is Mind Rend, and 3 is Drain Life. So the biggest thing you're going to see is Aura of Decay. It's an 8-yard defile-like circle. It's around 8 yards. That is around him, and it's a black pool of shit that looks like defile. Every time you go into that, you're going to get a stacking debuff. That stacking debuff is going to reduce your maximum health pool. So it's not actually going to tick damage off you, it is going to reduce your maximum health pool. So the general rule of thumb is to stay in there till about 3 or 4 stacks, then get out. However, on the Paladin, being an interrupt machine with Rebuke, Avenger's Shield proccing all the time, and Hodge, you can actually run this up to 5 or 6 quite comfortably. The biggest thing that you need to make sure is that you save one of these, be it Rebuke, be it an Avenger's Shield, or be it Hodge. You have to interrupt his cast Drain Life. So he'll do a cast called Drain Life, obviously. If 1 to 2 ticks get off, it's not a wipe, it'll set you back a little bit, but you really want to make sure you're interrupting that Drain Life as soon as it goes off. His other cast he's going to do is Mind Rend, and Mind Rend deals shadow damage, and it hits pretty fucking hard, especially when you're up at that sort of 6 stacks of Aura Decay. Your health pool's reduced. It hits quite hard, so you want to interrupt as many as you can as possible, and that's where Avenger's Shield and Hodge really comes into play with this and makes it a lot easier on the Paladin. So that's pretty much Phase 1 in a nutshell, guys. Phase 2, once you defeat Varus, Cruel comes down, all the eyes despawn, and whatever Infernals you've taken into Phase 2, you will still be dealing with. So remember, when the smash goes off, you're not standing in front, but we're not dealing with eyes anymore. Now, the Nether Horrors will still spawn during this phase, and they will still go for Velen, so you do have to make sure that you're picking them up. If the Nether Horrors go over and start beating on Velen, don't panic. You can actually take quite a few beatings from the Nether Horrors in this, and because there's no Nether Storm, they don't actually clean him up very quickly. So you do have time, if there's 1 or 2 beating on him, to get over there and get him off. Don't panic and lose your shit trying to get to Velen. He can take quite a bit of a beating, and remember, if you trigger an orb, he will go back to full health as well. So Cruel has 3 abilities that you need to deal with. 1 is Annihilate, 1 is the Green Goo Stomp, and the other is Twisted Reflection. So Annihilate is a 2-second cast that melee fucks you up the ass. The Green Goo Stomp, he jumps towards you and he leaves a big pool of green shit that hurts that you need to get out of straight away. And Twisted Reflection, if this gets off, you need to trigger an orb ASAP because it will heal him for 5% of his HP and it will really fuck you up. So, Annihilate is the biggest thing in Phase 2 that you need to deal with, and there's a way on the guide that's written out for dealing with Annihilates. You should be able to take 5 actual hits of Annihilate. That's not including stuns or using orbs to delay them. So the way that they've set out on most of the guides I've seen is for the first Annihilate, you'd take Shield of the Righteous and Seraphim. Number 2, you would use Shield of the Righteous on its own. Number 3, Shield of the Righteous, Seraphim and Ardent Defender. Number 4, Shield of the Righteous, Seraphim and Guardian of Ancient Kings. And number 5, you would bop yourself. Now, I did it a little bit differently, mainly because I didn't read any guides before I looked at this. The first guide I actually went and read was before I made this video. And I just kind of fluffed my way through when I got there in the tank challenge. So I went Shield of the Righteous and Seraphim, then I Hammer of Justice, the second one. I then went Shield of the Righteous on the third one. On the fourth Annihilate, I Hodged him again. On the fifth one, I used Shield of the Righteous and Ardent Defender. And on the sixth one, I would have used Shield of the Righteous or Shield of the Righteous and Guardian of the Ancient Kings, or I would have triggered the orb I missed by a couple of millimeters. but I was shit and I end up dying and Corvus kills Cruel for me. But that's how I managed it, which is pretty much the same. But on the Paladin, managing Annihilates is fairly fucking easy, to be honest. I don't know if they don't hit it hard or if the active mitigation is just so much better in regards to the damage that actually gets reduced by the Annihilates. But say, for instance, on the Demon, on the Death Knight, you could only actually take 3 hits before you were absolutely fucked. So whether that's changed now in current gear might be a complete different story. But that's how I manage the Annihilates, and I'll talk about it when we're watching the video anyway. So that is Phase 1 and Phase 2, guys. So now let's bring up the video. I'm going to talk you through the video and tell you what I did, and hopefully that helps you out if you're stuck on this. Alright, guys, so here we are on the video. I am going to move my pots to where Lay of Hands is, and I accidentally click it, so we're going now. So I have pre-potted with my Potion of Prolonged Power. I am getting straight in, throwing my Blessed Hammers up, obviously, and just trying to do as much DPS, pop Wings, pop Seraphim, and trying to get as much DPS as I can onto Inquisitive Era. So here you can see the first Drain Life. I interrupt that, I've ducked out at 5 stacks, and I'm just trying to save my Avenger's Shield proc at the moment for the next cast of Mind Rend that goes off, because I've got the 5 stacks, I don't want to get hit. I'm moving over to the ads that come out, dropping Consecrate, Blessed Hammers again. Once my stacks drop off, I'm jumping straight back in. You can see an eye is casting its Inquisitive Stare, making sure I stare at it. Once that cast finished, I don't have to really worry about that eye. I get to 5 stacks again, I move out, I go back in to interrupt with Rebuke for that one. Facing the eye again. The eyes will recast their beams too, guys, so just make sure you're aware of that. Once an eye casts its beam, it doesn't mean that you're finished with that eye for the entirety of the Phase 1 challenge, sorry. It will recast its beam again. So if you do need to kill the eyes, as I said, it's not a big thing. If you're near them, run over and hit them, or if you're waiting for stacks to drop off. But otherwise, just make sure you're facing them. You shouldn't have too many worries. You can see here the Psi Talons buff. It builds up quite quickly. I'm at 11 stacks of Psi Talons at the moment, so that increasing arcane damage. But it's not really too hard to sort of heal through. Make sure you're using an orb. Another thing that I see all the time in Mage Tower guides is people telling other players not to use orbs in P1. Fuck those people. They are absolutely fucking stupid. You can use orbs in Phase 1, guys. I don't think I even have an orb going up into Phase 2 for this. And in all the tank challenges that I've completed on this, I have not bothered using... I have not tried to save orbs sort of thing. Like, if I need to use an orb, I fucking use an orb. So you can see here the Infernals are casting. So with the big thing with the Infernals, guys, so you can see that smash cast going off. You just need to make sure that you are not in that sort of frontal cone area of them. So anytime you see a smash cast going off, just make sure you're moving out of the way. You can see Bear Tartar really helps every time you kill something. You get a real speed boost from that. You can see here just triggering. I didn't probably need to trigger an orb there. That was probably dumb. I wanted to get a little bit more DPS into Varus, but you can see the Nether Horrors out. You can see the eyes continue to cast. It's once you get comfortable with this, it's actually it becomes a hell of a lot easier. Like, it took me 8 attempts to get the Paladin one. I am 9-14 on my Paladin, and I think I have 3 points in Concordance, so I'm probably sort of on the overgeared scale for this. That was a really dumb orb trigger too. So you can see I'm going to push Varus here. I'm going to push into Phase 2. So I've got 2 Infernals up, so I'm taking 2 Infernals into my Phase 2, which is what I want. I don't want to be going in with 3. The eyes have all despawned, and now I'm onto Cruel. So Cruel, I'm using my second pot. I'm popping drums, and I am trying to sort of stay around Valen's area. Here comes the first Annihilate, so I take that one with Shield of the Righteous. There's the Twisting Reflections. I use Rebuke to interrupt that. The ads coming out again. I got punted there because I wasn't paying attention, so I've Goblin Glided down. It really can save your life. Just trying to get Cruel, trying to sort of kite him around the edge. Those beams sort of go through the middle of the platform, so if you can stay around the edge and stay consistently moving, it makes it a lot easier to get out of the green goop. So there's the second Annihilate, I think, which I've done, which I've hodged him on to stun. Once he comes out of this, he will recast that Annihilate. So now I'm using my Shield of the Righteous again to soak the next one. Again, just trying to move around, staying near Velen. You can see the, what are they called? The Nether Horrors coming out, and they can beat on Velen. Every time you trigger an orb, he goes back to full HP. So that's what I was talking about in not being too sort of stressed out about trying to get over him. He can take a bit of a beating, and triggering an orb, which you are going to do, is going to put him back to full health anyway. So again, just trying to kite crawl around. Here comes the third Annihilate stack for me, so I hodge him again. The next one is going to go up. I'm going to use Shield of the Righteous and Ardent Defender. So here comes a Twisting Reflection. Make sure I interrupt that. Here comes the next, Annihilate. I didn't actually take that. I used an Orb to interrupt it. So now I've got Seraphim up and Shield of the Righteous and Ardent Defender. So I also use Lay on Hands on myself there as well. So I BOP's out for one of the other ones now. Now, I should have I use Hodge in a second to interrupt the next Annihilate cast, and then I go for an Orb, which is all well and good. If you are going to run through these green pools, make sure you're using your horse to get through there. Don't just trot through the middle. You will take an absolute fucking arse ton of damage. I should have used Guardian of the Ancient Kings here, or got that orb, and I wouldn't have died. But I am a shit cunt, and I end up dying. And Corvus gets to finish him off for me. So if I had have just got that orb, or I had have used Guardian of the Ancient Kings, I would not have died, and I would have got to take all the glory for myself. Instead, I done fucked up. So that is it, guys. Hopefully, in my ramblings there, I have given you some assistance towards getting this. If you have any questions, please do hit me up. There is nothing more than I love than trying to get people through this stuff. So if you do have any questions, there is any way that I can help you out, please do hit me up, and I'll do my best to help you. Thanks very much for taking the time to check out the video, guys. I really do appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. See you guys.